shelf, putting it on a chain, wearing it around my neck now. Taking my freedom, putting it in my car. Wherever I choose to go, it will take me very far. Cause I'm living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Living my life is golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. I'm living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Oh, like it's golden, golden. I'm taking my freedom, I'm putting it in my song, singing it loud and strong, grooving, grooving all day long. I'm taking my freedom. I'm going out on a stroll. I'm gonna be high-stepping all, gonna let my joy unfold. Cause I'm living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Living my life like it's golden, no. Like it's golden, golden. I'm holding on to my freedom, can't take that away from me. I was born with it, I do it naturally. I'm stumbling my own freedom, playing like God wants me to be free. Living your life like it's golden, living your life like it's golden, golden. Living my life like it's golden. I'm living my life, you know I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm living my Tell me something. Is your life? Talk to me about your life. Is it golden? Tell me, is your life golden? I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden, golden. Oh! Living my life like it's golden. 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 Living my life, I'm living my life, living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life. Oh, you still got more you gotta say? Okay, just say, I'm golden. Someone is say, you're golden. All right. Golden, golden, I'm golden, 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 golden. My words are golden, golden. My thoughts are golden. My speech is golden. My heart is golden. My body's golden. My song is golden. My prayers are golden. My life is golden, 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 golden. Oh, giving my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden. Living my life.
This seems seems to be the clean service.
I didn't say anything. No.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we got off to a really, naughty start first service. Because Jake said, LaVon's going to kick butt. She did. She does. I think, Golden. So I just love this thing that's come out of me. You're like, Golden, yeah, that seems kind of pure. But I really want to be a badass. And so I've kind of played around with that. How do I have a license plate that says badass minister? And Kathy Lindsay came up with B.A. Rev, but that could also be bare butt or bare, So imagine all the times I'd be pulled over to see, how things were. So now for those of you new to this philosophy and this center, it is so fun to be human. I really want to have my head in the clouds and in the heavens, and I want to have my feet firmly planted on the ground. And I want to enjoy what it's like to be a human being with weird little quirks and funny things running through my head once in a while. Which has a lot to do with today. Because today, for those of you that are new, you might as well just jump on in, because we do have a high holy day. And the Christians have pretty well taken over Easter and Christmas, which originally was the winter solstice and the spring equinox. They did a good job of just, planting their flag in those holidays. But they haven't done too much with Groundhog's Day yet. So I planted my flag on February 2nd. And actually, it's a very sacred day. It's a very sacred day. It is halfway between the solstice and the equinox. Did you know that? Yes. And it was, in Catholicism, it was called Candlemas, but even they took it over from the pagans, because the pagans would have a candlelight ceremony or procession to honor the goddess Febra. What's that sound like? Yeah, and February is named after her. Yeah, I know, the stuff you find out here, you're like, oh, you're going to have better coffee conversations with your friends, because you can always toss out a bit of useless knowledge. It's like, do you know where February came from? So it was celebrated as Candlemas in Europe for years and years and years and years, and then the Germans came to Pennsylvania, and it's called Pennsylvania Dutch, but it's Dorch. And so there was a Pennsylvania Dorch tradition of continuing to celebrate Candlemas, but back in Germany, they had started calling it Badger Day. They found very few badgers in Pennsylvania, but they did find groundhogs. So the first known writing about Groundhog's Day was in 1840. It's been around, not as long as the celebration between the winter and the summer solstice. I forgot how Ibnock, or there's a word for it when that pagan holiday. IMBO, I can spell it, but you don't want me to, because I'm dyslexic and I'll really screw it up. But there was a celebration. So all that is to just tell you that I was sitting in my prayer chair one day, and I was thinking about my grandmother, who was born on February 2nd, and she always called herself a groundhog. And all of a sudden, so much stuff was downloaded, and I realized that it was very much like Plato's explanation of why people stay stuck in their limited life. And that's because they're sitting in a cave and the sun is behind them, the light source is behind them, and all they see are these big shadows on the wall, and they're so busy protecting themselves from the shadows and being afraid of the shadows, they just don't turn around, see the sun, and get out of there. Much like, the groundhog, if he sees his shadow. He goes back into the hidey hole. And how many of you know, not you, but how many of you know people that when they start to open up to their life, they're so inhibited by their own shadows that they just continue to play small? How many of you at least have one cousin that does that? So thus was Groundhog's Day born within my consciousness, and I brought it to the center, and people went, "Yay, Groundhog! Isn't he cute? I mean, look at that." I'm looking at him over there. I mean, just the sweetest, just cute. But I think, so this is what I looked at her, and I thought, I think it's a her. And she's going, "He left days ago with his buddies. He's not home yet, and I'm having to take care of the kids and do all the work." That's what I thought, but anyway, maybe not. Maybe not. Actually, we should get serious now, because this is a serious conversation. And it's all about shadow. Today we're going to talk about shadow. Yes, there's light. I'm so grateful that Jake was also listening to the Holy Spirit and decided to sing songs about light, because you can't have a shadow without some light. Otherwise, it's just pure darkness. If you think about it, a shadow's up. A shadow is progress, because there is light involved. And shadows can scare us, just like they did the groundhog. And yet, Plato said that if we just turn to the light, we are influenced by the light and not the shadow. Or in this case, I guess the light's here, and there's a shadow there. I could be afraid of whatever that dark thing is on the ground, or I could just look at the shadow and that it's still there, but I'm not influenced by it. I'm no longer the victim of it. To turn towards the light is to turn towards God. And that's the way I taught this for about 30 years. I'm going to give you my old version, my 30-year-old version, and I'm going to give you my updated version today, too. So you get two talks. So I expect you to give twice. You, too, you that are watching. No, once is enough. But I will tell you my old version and my new version of my interpretation of this whole thing about shadows. The old version was when you turn to the light, or you turn to God, or light being a metaphor for something greater than ourselves. As we turn to that, we can be inspired by that. And the shadows, which is a nothing masquerading as a something, because there is no real substance to a shadow, no longer affects us. So I'll give you an illustration, because right after my big download about Groundhog's Day being much like Plato's teaching, at least in my mind, I was I think even at the same time perhaps, I was working with a woman, and my shadow at the time was, if I'm a minister, I have to help people. And I really took on the responsibility of helping people. I was a good prayer. I was a great manifester. I hope I've outgrown that now. But no, I haven't. Anyway, I'm less that way. But I really would take on the responsibility of helping people out through prayer. And there was a woman that I was working with who had so much falling apart all at the same time. What she had falling apart was she had to move, she needed a place to live, she needed to get her belongings someplace, and she had no job, and she really needed to make an income. And I was praying and praying and praying. Nothing happened. Pray. Nothing happened. Ooh, pray. Nothing happened. Then pray that she became receptive, because obviously my prayers must be working. And it was her fault. And then one morning, I was in meditation, and I was just high on God. Just high on God. And I can get high on God. I can pray, I can meditate, I can be still, I can read a passage from a book and just get high on God. And at that time in Washington, that was the only legal way for me to get high on God, was on God. So I took it as often as I could. Big dose of God. High on God, I realized that there was no need. There was absolutely no need. In God, there's no need. Now, on earth, on this plane of existence, there's need, but in God, there is no need. So I didn't need to help her. I didn't need to make her life better. And she had no needs. And that afternoon, she called, and she got a job that not only gave her a place to live, because she became like a house mother for a sorority. So they moved her into an apartment, gave her a stipend to move her possessions, and then she was getting paid. Everything came together in one big, wonderful lump of all her needs being met. See, it was the revelation of a spiritual truth within me that shifted things, I believe. Because first of all, I gave up responsibility, and then everything happened. Recently, that's why I know that I haven't been totally healed. Recently, in November, I took a group of ministers to Egypt, and someone had a block in their ear, and I was praying that she had, that she could hear better. She had freedom. I was asking her things like, what are you not wanting to hear? I was getting psychological. I was getting spiritual. I was doing my ninja prayer stuff, and nothing was working. And I thought, well, she's just resistant. Once again, early morning, I'm having my experience of God. Once again, all there is was God. It gets you. What I love is that if you do your spiritual practice, things fall away, and all there is this experience of something beyond what you can even describe. And I was in that state, and then I just got it. There are no blocks in God. There's no blocks. Her hearing can't be blocked. Her ear can't be blocked. I mean, I didn't think that. All I thought was, there is no block in God. I would go to breakfast, and she said, I just this morning I woke up and I could just feel my ear open up, and it's open. There's something that was downloaded in me, and I think it was original, although I may have gotten it from somebody else, I don't know, but it came from God. If it's good, it comes from God anyway. So don't put your name on it. Quote me, but don't quote me, because if it's good, it came from God, so who cares? But I had it on in my office for so long on a sticky note, and it said, God realized must produce an effect or a result. God realized must produce a result. Not God thought about, not even God prayed to, but God realized. When we realize God, it will somehow download within our soul that which is needed. And it's so beyond affirmations. How many of you started metaphysics through affirmations? And you affirm, 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 and you say it, and you hear it, and you write it down, and eventually it will make a result in your life, because eventually you will have it be part of your thinking system, but it takes a long time. A download, instantaneous. That's why seek ye first that kingdom of the realm of the divine, and all else shall be given. It will be given. It's not worked for, figured out, or mind mapped. It will be given. So that's the way I used to teach the Groundhog's Day metaphoric principle. But I've changed. I've changed. I got a new download. I got a new download. So this is Groundhog's Day 0.20 or whatever. Oh, whatever. 2.0? 2.0? Okay. Okay. That's why it takes a village to help a minister give a talk. So now I realize that I want to talk about shadow in a totally different way. And that is to make our shadow. How many of you know you have a shadow? Me. And my shadow. First service really thought I was very funny. I'm going to have to leave here and do healing work anyway with myself. Anyway, my shadow is that you'll put yourself out there and they won't even get it. A shadow within ourself is that aspect of ourself that we want to deny, we want to regret, we want to hide, we want to eliminate, we want to put into a closet, we don't want to deal with, and yet it's a part of us. And that's what I mean by shadow. You also have good shadows, those aspects of yourself that are golden, that are beautiful, that are intelligent, that you also don't want to own. A shadow is the disowned aspects of our own personality, whether it's our greatness, our fantastic originality and uniqueness, or the things that we wish we weren't that way. Now, how many of you know you have a shadow? So the new aspect of Groundhog's Day is becoming best friends, besties with your shadow. Besties with your shadow. Just like that little groundhog is going out, and it looks like a sunny day, and he's still going out. I'm still going to make it. I might see my shadow, but I am bigger than my shadow. See, when we start to identify with the Christ within, I'm going to use, that's a Christian term, but Ernest Holmes defined it as the God within. When we start to identify with our divine self, we can look at all of those things that we have neglected in the past and embrace them because we're bigger than them. Even when I look at that shadow, I'm bigger than that shadow. No matter what you look at and no matter what you deny, that eternal aspect of you is bigger than that. And you can embrace it and hug it and learn from it and make it your best friend. Because every shadow is there for your benefit originally. Every shadow was created to benefit you in some way. It has an intended positive result or an intended positive intention for you, at least in the beginning. But like a lot of things, we outgrow stuff. When Paul said, when I was a child, I thought as a child. Now I'm an adult. Well, when we were a child, we had mechanisms that we created within ourselves to protect us. And then we grow up, and just like we can't wear our childhood clothing anymore, we really can outgrow those childhood shadows because they follow us around. I mean, I've had a healing in the last hour just from doing this talk this morning. I'm changed. I mean, when I say I'm changed. Because I'm not, in front of everybody, I not only embraced my shadow, he continued to work and reveal things to me. because it was always for our good. Everything that we dislike about ourselves had an intended, positive intention for us. I'll give you an example. Mine was, and I talked about it first service, shyness. I'm still shy. It doesn't seem like that because I'm up here dancing and being stupid and singing in front of you and calling myself a badass and I'm a minister and it doesn't even occur to me what you'll think. But one-on-one, I become afraid. One-on-one, I have to know you really well to share myself. Now, I know some people because we've traveled together, we've had classes together. One-on-one, I fade back. That's my shyness. And I realized that my shyness, or when I ask my shyness what it's for, it's like, don't make a fool of yourself. But I understand that it's even more than that. Because as a child, my mother was an unwed mother. And ashamed to be an unwed mother in the 50s. And I caught that, like there was something wrong with me, and she was embarrassed to have me show up. She was embarrassed to tell men that she was dating that she had a daughter at home. So I just sort of knew it was okay to recede, and that it was best to recede. So my shyness had a positive intention to have me not be embarrassed or be embarrassing. That was the positive intention. But guess what? I'm old enough now I can outgrow that. And there's other ways that I could not be embarrassing. And that is not to care if I embarrass you. To see, it's like, and to trust that I'm not going to do anything that would hurt anybody, including my mother way back then. Is this making sense? We all have these. So who would like to embrace your shadow today? Good. If you'd like to embrace your shadow, let's do it. I'll take a little music this time. We did it without music, so I expect really big things now. Because we're going to... I mean, we had good results first service. Not quite... yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So I invite you to become calmer by doing this kind of breath 3 times. And the breath is deep breath in, exhale twice as long. I'll do that 3 times. Inhale, twice as long. Exhale, inhale, deep. Exhale twice as long. Inhale, exhale twice as long. And now move into that place that is known as your heart chakra, your holy of holies. It is the place where your soul is always in communication with infinite spirit. It is that place where you connect with the divine. It is that place where your higher wisdom self is always speaking. And wisdom is the love intelligence of the universe finding a human outlet. Because wisdom is always loving and always intelligent. And it finds a human outlet through this thing called wisdom. Now allow your higher wisdom self to reveal to you the original positive intention behind the behavior or the feeling or the shadow that you know of. That would have been my shadow of shyness. What was the original positive intention behind your shadow? And when you know that, when it's revealed to you from your heart, not something you figure out, When you know that, feel that, experience that answer, raise your hand. Now allow your higher wisdom self to come up with an alternative plan or an alternative way that is more appropriate for who you are now to achieve the same positive results. Allow your higher wisdom self to come up with an alternative way or plan that's more appropriate to who you are now to achieve the same positive results. I won't embarrass myself, so I'll be shy. I won't embarrass others, so I'll be shy. But an ulterior plan is not care if I'm embarrassed, because I'm going to live out loud. I'm going to be thrilled with every single day that I draw breath. And everything's fun, and I may be made fun of, but who cares? I'm going to laugh all the way through this life of mine. That's my new alternative plan or way of living. What is yours? When you know, when it's revealed, raise your hand. It's a revelation. And a revelation must produce a result. It's not to be figured out, it's to be revealed. And the revelation may happen now, or it may happen, like for me, an hour later. The revelation can sometimes unfold and unfold and unfold and unfold and shift and shift and shift and shift you. Now allow your higher wisdom self to show you a future where you're living your positive intention in a whole new way, in a more skillful way, in a more life-enhancing way. Let yourself see that now, and when you do, when you can imagine it, when you can walk into that future self, raise your hand. And so I just give thanks that the work of that great higher wisdom self that has sometimes been called the Holy Spirit, the inner teacher, is never done. But I give thanks that for each and every person who opened the door to the revelations of a better way of life, that door is open, and the revelations will continue to unfold and to light up the chamber of their heart to such a degree that they realize that they are the light of the world, and they will no longer hide under a bushel or in a cave or in a hidey hole or in a closet or behind their shadow. No. Their shadow, they embrace it, they love it, they take it into themselves, and they say, I got the job now. I can live out loud. I am my positive intention for living fully. I am that I am. And so it is.